Thank you. Eddie's telling me, say thank you to the people. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for making it possible for all of us fools to be up here on the stage today. And we will see you all weekend. So say we all.
For myself, no, I wholeheartedly believe each one of us has defining moments for us. For myself, especially getting that emblem and turning into a lieutenant at that time was great for my character. Obviously, having the revelation of me being the father of Kandyse McClure and that also another great moment. That was huge. Yeah, that was huge. And leaving the Galactica with the child is another great moment. Yeah.
Tom, you know, I mean, you've got a very astute observation. I mean, you hit some of the most important points for all of our characters. I mean, it's hard as in what context you say defining moment. That's a really good one. For me personally, episode 1 of season 3, my beginning of season 3, where that story picked up, I felt like for Anders and for me personally, that was my own personal defining moment, being part of that resistance and you know, when the tide, when the passion got grim and got dark and we were part of this sort of underground, I felt like that was the first time that I was being brought into the fold. Like I was accepted, I was part of the lore, I was part of the story. And that was the first time I was like, oh shit, I'm in this show. So I was always kind of an ancillary character, a lot of people just hated. I was just the guy trying to break up a Starbucks in Harlem. You know, I just didn't like me. And that was a tough sell. And the more they didn't like me, the more Ron broke. It's like, oh, you don't like Drew? Well, guess what? There's going to be more. That's kind of what Ron did. Yeah, he intentionally provoked. So for me, it was the beginning of season 3.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that's a pivotal point in Kilo's storyline and Sharon's storyline. Yeah, that was a heavy scene shoot. That was one of those rare scenes, though. I remember reading it and just knew that I was going to have to do a lot of work for it. It was just there. It was a powerful scene. I was like, oh, I got emotional reading it. I was like, okay. And then on the day, it was Michael Rogers in that episode. Michael was one of our key producers and directors. He worked with us from the jump. And, I don't know if a lot of people know, but Michael did 3 years of Meisner training, actor training, with the intention of still being a director, just so he would know how to talk to his actors. Incredible commitment. That's the kind of director he was. I felt very safe for him. So anyway, we did that scene, and it was good, man. It was powerful. It was hard. I remember sharing that scene for days. But that is, that's a huge defining moment for him. I agree. And if anything, it just shows the lengths that he was willing to go to for his family. But throughout the series, really shows that he doesn't know how to be wrong. He has to do what he believes in. He's so true to his convictions.
Oh, yeah, film, I think film especially, at least in my childhood, was more influential. I was a huge TV actor. I'm not one of those people that says, I don't watch TV. A lot of people don't watch TV. I always like to meet them like, oh, you're the one that doesn't watch TV. Because everybody watches TV. And I watched a lot of great and not so great television as a kid. But I think film was probably more influential than television. I mean, my dad was a cop. I grew up with son of a police officer. So the cop shows were like the ones that really stuck with me.
Do you like Chips?
I love Chips.
I did too.
I really did. I love Chips. And then you go back and watch them.
Yeah.
But I love motorcycles and I love cop shows. So
yeah. I had to go to friends' houses because I didn't have cable. I grew up in northern Canada. My parents were like, no cable for you. CBC television. That is. CBC is a great thing because that's all I got. Cable shows. I had to go to friends' houses to watch. I remember watching Chips. Wow.
All right.
Yeah. I used to love Three's Company. When I was a kid, I used to laugh so hard I would cry regularly. I thought it was the most brilliant comedy in the world. And I remember about 10 years ago, I was thinking, I want to see this company was on in the middle of the morning or something. Yeah, I watched it. That's right. And the whole time I was watching it, I was like,
funnier in 1978. No, but John Ritter wasn't coming.
He really was a
No,
lot.
John Ritter was he was fantastic. What was it, Chips?
You know, just chips, I like that. I like Family Ties, stuff like that. There was
Cosby, that's good.
Miami Vice.
Hey, I watched it a couple times. Yeah, I mean, Miami Vice definitely was shaped a lot of, you know, my upbringing. Those cast members, they're so young on the set, being around them.
You were living in Miami.
Yeah, we lived in Miami for about 5 years. Yeah, and you know, it was one of those things. I'd go there after school and have lunch with my dad and hang out, pissed on, and so you know, on set. Yeah, we caused trouble. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that definitely, I think, like you're saying, shapes who you are eventually, and they influence us. And I think this show, Battlestar Galactica in particular, was so, which I find really fascinating, and why we're, I think, all here today, was the topics, the issues that were brought up, and what we all felt watching it and being on it, cast members, and writers and directors, and art, art directors and stuff like that on the show, all came together and created this one piece that definitely helped shape who we have become today, 6-7 years later after the show ended, and still come together and get excited, get chills. I learned more about hot dog today than I did when I was filming it, because I spent some time away from it, and I realized, like, oh my God, this was what he was about. This is where that character was. It's super, like, it's so amazing. It's so rich.
It's still evolving. It really is, yeah.
I think the
I'm
show
growing
developed for a while, right?
Me too.
Yeah, you really do. And I think my father would explain to us when we were shooting it, is that's what's happening with this piece, and we wouldn't really kind of grasp it until we were years down the road, what it's really all about.
He always said that.
But that's thanks to you guys who continue to let it evolve and observations like yours, Tom. Like, you guys really bring some incredible insight. I feel like I get an education from the fans about the show because you guys bring up points I'm like, oh shit, I did not see that at all. That's a really good point. So it's great. It's constantly evolving. It's not going away anytime soon.
Truly passionate, educated fan base.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
All that he said is true. It was very deep and very profound. However, we're doing my close-up, his close-up when I'm done. Or no, my close-up when I'm done. The problem was, Eddie was crying, and his tears were falling on my hands every time he put the ring on my finger, which would make the dead person cry. And my eyelids would start fluttering and tears would come out, and you'd hear Michael Reimer go, "Cat! You're dead! You can't in the story, in the reality of it, in whether or not it was literal, in, that sort of dream world level of it. And he kind of left it ambiguous. It wasn't like a clearly defined story that then they softened or changed. It was that this was part of the fabric of the mystery of life. And we do repeat patterns that are, my belief anyway, is that we on the planet do repeat major religious, political, and social patterns again and again and again as we try and define ourselves beyond what we know as human. So I think that was part of the idea.
For real, I wasn't there, and you had a scene with Hogan.
Oh, yes.
Where you're walking down the hall, and she comes out, like, they have this scene, we had a lot of scenes where we meet, like, in the corridor, walk and talk, right? So, I don't know, do you want to tell what you did?
Well, I'll do the prelim. You can do the punchline. Our beloved line producer, Harvey, he was so fun. He would do anything for you. And we were like sitting around the monitors. We're like, what? We should do something. What are we gonna do? And we had this very serious, and you know, Hogan is like the funniest person ever in life, ever. And he would crack us up all the
Whether
time.
he means to be or
Whether he
not.
means to be. What's my right, and he was being all super serious that day, and he had this scowl on his face, and we had this walk and talk, and I'm like, oh, little D, telling Hogan stuff. And Harvey went to the prop department and came back with this box of goodies. And so...
Wait, don't ruin it though.
No, okay. And he came up with a box of goodies, and I rifled through it, and I very seriously, because I have to like meet him, he's busy, he's on the way, and I sort of catch him mid-hallway.
We pointed at
Okay, so yeah, so all I saw in the blooper reel is you see him coming into the corridor, and then she shows up looking him serious in the eye wearing a tiara. Okay? It was so awesome, and you're sort of like, it catches you off guard because you obviously don't expect this, and at first, you know, with pranks, like your brain tries to make sense of it. You know, there's that moment of thinking like maybe there's some reason for it. And then what the best part of it all is that he didn't crack up once. He played the whole scene completely serious, and she's the one that's sort of like,
Yeah, I couldn't hold it together.
you know, like Jimmy Fallon and, you know, whatever, just like almost cracking up.
Yeah.
And he's just like straight on, looking her right in the eye, doing the scene. It was amazing.
Yeah. The best moment was when I actually first came out, because he actually did have a reaction. He sort of looked at
probably saw it.
He looked at me like,
He's like, oh. You're not gonna get me.
like I could see it. Why does she have a tiara on? Like, there's a reason for the tiara. She's just being a jerk. I have stuff to do. And he just kept going. And I think afterwards he was like, "Are we keeping you from a party? Are you on your way somewhere?"
It's like everybody's uncle. You know, like the uncle at the party who says all the...
The curmudgeonly uncle. I actually also came out in a feather boa and a tiara in the second attempt to actually try and get him to crack.
Did he?
No.
Oh my god.
He just feigned getting angry. Are we shooting a TV series here or what's going on? You don't want to fart in those suits. You don't want to fart in those suits. That thing will live in there.
Oh my god. And then go like this and it all blows out. Disgusting. No, but they,
We should do disclaimers before these panels, I think, from now on.
Yeah, they used to do that.
Hobby
And you can't
humor.
laugh because if spit gets on your helmet when you're laughing, they've got to undo your seatbelt, take the helmet, you know, move the lights, wipe down the helmet, put it back on. They get mad. It's a lot of work. So you don't. You're reading like stop farting, and you're like, and you can't even touch your face. It's, you know, because it's like glass. Like, you know what I mean?
You learned that the hard way, didn't you?
Like, oh, stop!
I just said a lot of that's what she said jokes.
Yeah, those are my favorite kind. Yeah, for me, it was there were lots of little things like what you guys are talking about, but just working with James Callis alone was a daily, like, can I keep my shit together? Because that guy is hilarious. And he improvises a lot of the stuff that you guys saw.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of it was, you know, he'd stick pretty much to the script, but then he would, every take, he would say something equally hilarious, and because I wasn't expecting it, I would have to just keep myself together. It was so great. And then there were times when really nobody had to do anything, and somebody would start giggling.
By someone you mean Mary?
Yeah, she was definitely an instigator. There were a few instigators. There was one time when all of us were on the hangar deck. Like, there was like 10 cast members for this scene where Lucy Lawless's character comes back. Remember that scene? There was a lot of cast there, so there was a lot of coverage. It took forever. We were getting loopier and loopier, and I was one of the last people to get covered. And by the time they came around to me, I was so goofy that I got the giggles. Something that Hogan did, I don't even remember what it was, but I couldn't stop laughing so badly that my lines, when I got it together well, I didn't get it together. When I tried to say the words, and I actually almost peed my pants. Sometimes it doesn't take anything.